You've done the inner work. Now comes the part no one talks about. What happens when you step out of the sanctuary and into the world? Because finding your root word in meditation is one thing, but keeping it alive in the grocery store checkout line when someone's energy is fraying your edges, that's the real practice. Welcome back to our Sacred Pause, beautiful soul. I'm Gwen, and today we're learning how to carry the root forward, how to take everything we've cultivated and make it real in the mess and beauty of daily life. We've spent 3 weeks building your foundation. You found your root word, that North Star that's guiding your year. You created gentle structure, containers that bend but don't break. You learned to listen within, to trust the quiet voice that knows. Now what? Do we just go back to life as usual? No. Today we learn how inner work becomes our outer movement, how private practice becomes public presence, how the root you've planted becomes the tree everyone can shelter under. I used to think that once I found my center, I'd never lose it again, that once I heard my inner voice clearly, the noise would stop. That's not how it works. Integration happens in 3 phases, and most of us get stuck in the first one. Phase 1, protection mode. This is where we try to shield our new growth from the world. We avoid difficult people. We create elaborate morning routines that fall apart by noon. We think we need perfect conditions to stay rooted. But here's the thing. A root system that only works in the perfect soil isn't strong, it's fragile. Phase 2, translation mode. This is where we learn to translate our inner work into outer language. Your root word becomes how you make decisions. Your gentle structure becomes how you move through your day. Your inner knowing becomes how you navigate relationships. You're not protecting your practice from life. You're bringing your practice to life. Phase 3, embodiment mode. This is where it gets magical. You stop thinking about your root word because you're being it. You don't need to remember to listen within because it's become your default frequency. The inner and outer have married and you move as one integrated being. Most people never make it past protection mode because they think the goal is to preserve their peace. But peace isn't something you preserve, it's something you practice in traffic, in conflict, in uncertainty. That's where your root system proves itself. Now, let me be honest about what you're going to face. The world is not set up for rooted people. It's set up for reactive people, for people who chase every notification, every trend, every urgency. When you start moving from your center, you become a disruption to that system. People will test your boundaries, not because they're bad, but because their groundedness makes them aware of their own systems will demand your old patterns. The workplace that requires constant availability, the family dynamics that depend on you playing your assigned role, the culture that mistakes busy for important. Your own mind will rebel. It's been running the show for so long, it doesn't trust this new management. It will create false emergencies. It will insist the old ways were safer. It will try to convince you that integration isn't practical. Here's what I need you to know. This resistance is not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign you're doing it right. Every time you choose response over reaction, presence over performance, root over surface, you're strengthening a new way of being. The world doesn't need more people who've done inner work in private. It needs people who've done inner work and then bring that medicine into the Monday morning meeting, the family dinner table, the comment section. So how do we actually do this? How do we carry the root forward when life gets lifey? I'm going to share 3 practical tools that have saved me more times than I can count. Tool 1, the transition breath. Every time you transition from home to work, from meeting to meeting, from day to evening, take 1 conscious breath and touch your root. Literally ask, what does your root word, whatever that is, look like here? If your word is trust and you're walking into a difficult conversation, maybe trust looks like speaking your truth without attachment to outcome. If your word is flow, maybe it looks like letting the meeting unfold instead of you forcing your agenda. 1 breath, 1 question, that's all. Tool 2, the sacred interrupt. When you feel yourself getting swept into old patterns, the people pleasing, the overthinking, the pushing, create a sacred interrupt. This could be touching a physical reminder, a stone, jewelry, your heart. Speak your root word silently 3 times, asking, what would inner knowing do? Taking 5 seconds to feel your feet on the ground. The interrupt doesn't have to be big, it just has to be conscious. You're literally interrupting the automatic program and choosing presence. Tool 3, the evening return. At the end of each day, before you judge whether you succeeded or failed, ask a different question. Where did I choose my today? Not was I perfect, not did I stay centered every moment. Simply, where did I choose my route? Maybe it was just once in a 2-second pause before responding to a text. Maybe it was choosing to leave a conversation that was draining your life force. Maybe it was saying no when your pattern is yes. Celebrate every single choice. You're building new neural pathways. You're teaching your system a new way. This takes time. Be gentle with yourself. Here's where this gets powerful. When you carry your root forward consistently, you become an alchemist. You transform spaces just by being in them. I've watched this happen. The person who embodies peace changes the entire energy of a contentious meeting without saying a word. The person rooted in joy doesn't lecture about positivity. They simply remain generally delighted by life, and others remember that's possible. The person angered in truth doesn't argue. They speak once clearly and the room shifts. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. When you mess up, and you will, you return to your root faster. When you get triggered, and you will, you recognize it sooner. When you forget everything we've practiced, and you will, you remember quicker. The difference between a rooted person and an unrooted person isn't that one never falls, it's that one knows how to find ground again. And here's the secret: your presence gives others permission. When you stay rooted in a chaotic moment, you show others it's possible. When you respond from wisdom instead of wound, you model another way. When you choose your root word over the world's urgency, you become living proof that there's another option. You're not preaching, you're not fixing, you're simply being what you've cultivated, and that changes everything. This is how movements begin, not with grand gestures, but with individuals who've done their inner work and dare to live it out loud. Every rooted person becomes a sanctuary for others who are seeking ground. Beautiful. We've come to the end of our January journey, but really, we're just beginning. You came here seeking a root word, and you found so much more. You found a way of being that honors both your humanity and your divinity. You discovered that gentle structure beats rigid systems every time. You learned that your body holds wisdom your mind is still catching up to. And now you know that all of this inner work, it's not meant to be hidden, it's meant to be lived. This week, I want to leave you with one final practice. Each morning, before the world rushes in, place your hand on your heart and speak these words. I carry my root forward, not perfectly, but persistently, not as performance, but as presence. Today I choose to be the sanctuary I've been seeking. Because here's what nobody told us. We keep looking for safe spaces to practice our truth, but what if we're meant to be the same space? What if your rooted presence is exactly what the world is aching for? Next month, we'll explore what happens when winter turns towards spring, when the root system you've built begins pushing up new growth. But for now, for this holy transition between January and February, I invite you to simply practice carrying your root forward into the grocery store, into the difficult conversation, into the Monday morning, into the places that need your medicine most. The world doesn't need your perfection. It needs your practice. It needs you rooted and real and willing to stay present when everything invites you to leave. You have everything you need. Your root word knows the way. Your gentle structure will hold you. Your inner wisdom will guide you. And when you forget, because you will, this community, this practice, this sacred pause will be here waiting for you to welcome you home. Thank you for taking this January journey with me, for being willing to root deep, for trusting the process even when it felt uncertain, for choosing growth over comfort again and again. You are so brave. You are so needed. You are so ready. Until next week, remember the root you've planted isn't just for you, it's for everyone who shelters in your shade. It's for the world that's waiting for what you came here to show. Carry it forward. We're all counting on your particular medicine. You are rooted, you are ready, and you are loved.